We are happy and proud to bring in Chief Kimberly Ferrante with us. She's the commander of the 126th Army Band. Thank you so much for being with us. And if we could say thank you so much for your service, we so appreciate it.
Thank you so much. It's an honor to be here, Ronnie. Thanks so much for having me.
How long have you been in the Army?
I've been in the Army for a little over 27, I think I might be going on 28 years now. I started my military service active duty as a full-time bandsman, and then I transferred into the Guard and then into the Reserves. So majority of my time has been as a reserve soldier, but overall it's been almost 30 years of service for me.
So when you think back to that initial day that you were making the decision, how did that conversation go with your parents?
Oh, it was really funny because at the time, my birthday is in June, and I had to make that decision before the end of the year. So I wasn't even 18 years old yet. And my dad was very supportive because he actually was a tuba player in the Army Band many, many years ago. And he encouraged me to make this move. But then when I made the decision as to my choice of duty stations, they were a little frustrated because I had selected Germany and California and Hawaii and some other places because I wanted to get as far away from home as I could as an 18-year-old kid, right? So that was an enjoyable moment in my memory. But now that I look back on it, I wouldn't have done anything any differently. And any young person in today's world, I would definitely recommend that they take a look at military service because it gives you an opportunity to grow and to learn and to build on those skills, regardless of what your area might be, whether it's in the band as a musician or as an engineer or in the medical sciences. It's just a really great opportunity for our youth.
Yeah, and before we start speaking about the Army Band and your mission and everything that you do, what do you want to say to the younger generation out there, especially some of the ones that may be feeling a little lost right now about the benefits of joining the military?
The benefits are so extensive. And if you're even thinking about it, but you're hesitating, I would definitely recommend getting in touch with your local recruiter. It really is something that when you look back on it, you can say, look what I accomplished. It's an accomplishment. And it's something that as you go throughout your career gains so much respect from organizations out there. And some people even end up making it their career, their lifelong career. So I wouldn't hesitate, even if you're a little concerned about it, I wouldn't hesitate to at least learn more about it. And when I first came in, I was only going to be in for a couple of years. You know, that was going to be it. Just get in. I need the money for college. I want to get my degree, and then I'm going to move on to another job. And then as I started to feel that esprit de corps with my colleagues and my peers, I started to realize that this is more than just a job. You know, this is a duty to our country. And if it weren't for those veterans who sacrificed their, livelihoods, their lives, their time with their families, we wouldn't have the lives that we have to live today. So once you step back and you look at the bigger picture, it helps you to realize why it is that we do what we do.
And so, Chief, as we mentioned, you are the commander of the 126th Army Band. What is the mission of the band? Why does the Army need a band?
The Army so needs a band. We provide music throughout the full spectrum of military operations, so regardless of the aspect, the dynamic of the military, in order to instill in our soldiers the will to fight and to win, and then also to foster the support of our citizens and promote our national interests at home and also abroad, because, there's a lot of diversity out there. And by a lot of people, we all speak different languages, we have different cultures, we react differently to different situations. But the band and the music that we play is a universal language that connects with everyone across the globe. So it's our opportunity to share camaraderie with other nations while still being able to promote patriotism in the United States.
Music is the background to our life. What's it been like for you and the members of the band when we're in the middle of a pandemic and we're not really supposed to be around people right now? What was practice like? Were you doing anything via Zoom?
Oh, we did a lot of different things. So first of all, we got the call back in April that they required personnel to help support Operation COVID Hammer, which is the Michigan National Guard's response to COVID-19. And so we had a group of 10 individuals from the group that left the duty of the band to move into that federal service. I was one of those soldiers that performed that mission. And it was initially only going to be a couple of weeks to support at Feeding America within Comstock Park. And then that extended to a month, and then to 6 weeks, and then to 2 months. And then it ended up lasting over 3 months. And so that took us away from our unit. At the same time, we still have to train, because you can't have a military force that doesn't maintain their readiness. And so as this group was sidebarred, and we had several trumpet players, some of our key players and the commander, right, at this Operation COVID Hammer support, the band worked to improvise, adapt, and really overcome the situations that we were faced in order to support the community in the best way they could. So we retooled. Normally we have a 2-week annual tour in June where we tour a certain region within the state. This year, we were supposed to visit our sister nation of Latvia, and that obviously wasn't able to occur. But we needed to support our community somehow. We needed to uplift them and let them know that we were there for them and that their nation was there to support them through this. And so what we did was we took the number of players that were remaining from the other operation that was occurring. We divided them up into 2 small ceremonial groups, and then they performed at different assisted living centers throughout the community. Places that were open but maybe weren't allowing any kind of internal visitors. And actually, they're doing the same thing today, where they would go to these assisted living centers, our forgotten community, our population of elderly, and the most vulnerable within our communities. And they stood outside of the windows and outside of the doors, and the residents were able to roll their window down, and we played for them. And then we'd rotate to different positions within the nursing home on the outdoors, playing for them. And I tell you what, it really affected everyone in the band. So much so that we've even reorganized our group to be able to support these types of missions in the future, because it was so flexible, and it really touched the community like we've never seen. And the other issue today is Veterans Day, and we wanted to recognize our veterans. Think about our World War II and our Vietnam veterans. A lot of those are beginning to reach that elder age that may be in those assisted living centers. So by doing the same thing and repeating that service throughout different assisted living centers and nursing homes in the community, we were able to honor our veterans at the same time. So it's just been a great opportunity to learn and to grow, and for our soldiers to realize that, there isn't going to be any kind of pandemic that takes this unit down. There are many bands out there that really have just shut their doors, and they haven't supported much of anything in the community. But we've done everything that we can to maintain the safety and the security of our soldiers, but still to be able to support our community where it's needed, and just to help lift that spirit up. There's so many people that are down and depressed right now. Maybe they don't have a job, or they haven't seen their family because of the nursing home situation. So by us being out there, we're hoping that we can be that bridge that ties our community back together again, at least in our little part of the world.
Yeah, and can you speak a little bit about not just about the people who are on the receiving end of getting to experience and to hear your music, but what does this also mean to your members? And how is this helping them? Because we're all feeling some sort of isolation right now.
Well, I think for one part, it does give us an opportunity to come together. We were forced to drill remotely to do our duty separated for about 3 months. And it was challenging. We would all pick a weekend, and we would have certain tasks that we would need to complete. But we finally got the opportunity to come back together again in August. And it was so fulfilling to see everybody. And it's hard because we want to give each other a hug, and we want to be there to really support everyone through this. We've had people that have been touched by COVID in their families. We've had people that have been touched in really devastating ways. But just to know that we've got family here, that we are an internal family, like a band of brothers, basically, and sisters, that we can support each other through it. And like I had mentioned before, it really was touching when we saw how much our efforts affected those people that we were able to perform for. They didn't think that there would be, for example, we played on the 4th of July in Climax, Michigan, and we were able to sit out on a gazebo with a very small group of people, and we played marches. I mean, what is the 4th of July without a march or Stars and Stripes Forever, our national march? So being able to touch the community at a time when they feel that nothing can touch them, not that nothing can touch them, but when they feel very helpless and there's nothing that they can do to really change their circumstance, we felt as though we were able to add a sense of normalcy into their lives. Now, nothing's really going to be back to normal until, this virus is behind us and we find ways to cope with it. But in the situation that we're at right now, we've really developed that growth mindset, and we've stretched ourselves to be able to meet the community where they're at and feel their pain and support them where they're at. And then in addition, our COVID-19 forces that we're helping with Feeding America, also helping to test across the state, has helped to support on the level of the pandemic as well. So we're not only supporting on a musical dynamic, but we're also supporting on the defense against COVID-19.
Chief Kimberly Ferrante with us. She's the commander of the 126th Army Band, joining us here on the Oakland County MegaCast on this Veterans Day. And Chief, I have to say, it's probably, the world is completely different from when you joined back all those years ago, 20 plus years ago. I would imagine the Army's a bit different of a world now compared to what it was back in those days. I mean, think about it. I don't even think we had cell phones.
We didn't. No,
right?
With the cord on it. Yeah, I remember that.
Bag phone. You had a bag phone. But just from a standpoint of, you see 18, 19, 20-year-olds joining up to serve our country. Can you talk a little bit about the skills that they will gain coming out of being a member of the U.S. Army or any branch of the military as far as that goes?
Absolutely. So you learn a sense of authority, understanding what it means to be responsible to someone else. We talk about dedication to your position, dedication and loyalty and honor and selfless service. These are all these things that we learn. We learn to be servant leaders. You learn how to manage a schedule. You learn how to be independent. I know when I went to basic training, you'll laugh at this, but I was, like I said, 17. I think I just turned 18. And I sat in that barracks room just thinking, oh my gosh, this is so different than anything I had ever experienced. And it was very traumatic. It was basically the military's way of separating me from the comfortable space of living at home with my mom and dad, where they fixed me dinner and, they took care of me, to suddenly now I was responsible for a very, very important mission, which is to support and defend the Constitution of the United States. And so when that the weight of that lands into someone's spirit and their soul, it really helps them to mature very, very quickly. And I wasn't in the reserve or the National Guard when I first enlisted. I wasn't 5 minutes away from home going to drill for the weekend and then coming back. I was thousands of miles away. I was stationed in Virginia for a while, and then I was in California, and then I was stationed in Hawaii for a while. So it really helped you to learn that independence. I found myself a fiance, and I married my Marine Corps Tuba husband about a year after joining. So it opens a whole new pathway of experiences for young people. And it may be a pathway towards a career and a retirement. And for some that join in the National Guard or the Reserve, you're able to stay until the age of 60. So it can create a very, very lifelong dedication and devotion to our nation in service, and provides with educational benefits. It can give you student loan repayment. It can give you excellent healthcare coverage. There are just so many benefits that the federal government and the state provide our soldiers that decide to serve their government.
And, one thing I think a lot of people don't realize is even if an individual chooses to leave the military, there are so many jobs out there where you do get veterans preference. So
Absolutely.
in the hiring process as well. So your opportunities do extend beyond just the service that you have in the military as well.
Yes, absolutely. I actually was a GS employee for a while, which is a federal civilian status. And I was able to, if I was interested in doing this, I was able to purchase my active duty time and add that towards my time in service, which would have made my retirement come even sooner, because they would take into consideration all of the time that I served while I was active duty. So there are definite benefits. You may not see the benefits right away, but after a little bit of life's experience, comes your way, you're going to look back and say, this is something that I really should have looked towards doing. And, you know, if anyone is interested in a career with the military, even a career in the Army band field, the music program, whether it's Reserve, National Guard, or active duty, I'd be more than happy to make a connection with them. So.
Oh, that's great. Thank you so much. Quickly, before we let you go, anything that maybe I didn't ask that you want to touch on before we say goodbye?
Well, I just want people that are listening today to if you see someone walking around with their veterans hat on, thank them for their service and thank them for doing what it is that they've done. Because if it weren't for them, as I mentioned earlier, if it wasn't for their service, we wouldn't be where we're at today. So I think so many times we go through our busy days and we're so focused on our needs and things that we need. We need to turn our attention out towards others and thank those that have served so dutifully throughout the country. We just need to make sure that we recognize them and we thank them for their service. So I thank you for your time today. Thanks for giving me an opportunity to speak. It's been a pleasure.
Well, Chief, we always, it's great having you on the show as well. Quickly, before I let you go, Tyler comes from a family of individuals that served in the military. Tyler, anything you want to ask?
No, not at the moment. I think we covered a lot of it in this, but I do want to thank, of course, Chief Kimberly Ferrante for her service as well.
Thanks, Tyler. Appreciate it.
And next time, Chief, we're going to have you or your husband bring out the tuba.
That sounds great. I think you should all come out to one of our performances and do some recordings, and we could share some of our music with your audience. That'd be great.
We would definitely appreciate that, and we would love that as well. Again, thank you for your time, and thank you for your service, and please extend our gratitude to your entire team as well.
I will do that. Thanks so much. Have a great Veterans Day.